If you are watching this episode on YouTube, then head over to the Spotify link in the description to watch the full discussion. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the Ballad of Wallis Island now. That's a very good review of Chainsaw Man: The Rosé Arc. So this is James Griffiths' brand new film. He did Cuban Fury in 2019. So the letterbox description of this is he's getting the band back together. An eccentric lottery winner who lives alone on a remote island tries to make his fantasies come true by getting his favorite musicians to perform at his own. So, like the plot says there from that box, it's about this guy who's won the lottery, and he lives on this like remote sort of like island. There's a few other people on there. There's one character who we'll get into a bit later, and yeah, so he's a big fan of this musician, Herb MacGyver, and well, at the time, his girlfriend or wife, who is Nell, and they had a band together. I forgot what that band's called, but yeah. So the film starts by we see Herb get off and is welcomed by Charles Heath, who is the one that lives on the island, and he's played by Tim Key. And we see him go up to the thing, and it's very funny. He lives in this huge house, and he's basically showing him. He basically wants him to do a private tour. At this point, we don't know that Nell Mortimer, played by Carey Mulligan, is coming. And yeah, so he comes in and he's sort of, like, how did you get this money? How's this? How's that? And there's some funny scenes, and I don't want to spoil a lot of the humor because I think that it's such a deadpan humor. It hits every time. Tim Key is just hilarious with that sort of dry deadpan humor, which just works 95% of the time, and it's just genuinely just hilarious. So I'm not going to spoil too many of the jokes unless there's really ones I want to pick out, which were hilarious. But I just thought, I thought the writing was very, very good. Tim Key and Tom Basden both wrote it together, and the writing's good. Like I said, deadpan humor is great. And going back to like what happens in the story, then we see Nell and Mortimer come with her husband, comes to the island, and Herb is completely shocked because he doesn't know this is happening. Whereas, because he's kind of not over the breakup yet, whereas Nell is, and she comes over and says, "Oh, you didn't know?" And it's kind of like they want to leave and they want to sort of. And I don't want to spoil any more of that. I don't want to go into any more details because I think that you should just go into it, not blind, but I think you should go into it knowing more, knowing less than what I've told you. No, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, don't go into it knowing everything because there's definitely a lot to know. So yeah, it's a new comedy, and just some facts from the IMDb trivia. It was filmed in Ramsey Island in Pembrokeshire, Wales, and it was shot in 18 days. And I have a funny story about this. When I was watching it, I could sort of see that sort of area and that sort of like the houses just looked very Welsh and very Welsh like sort of place. And I was like, this has to be like, this has to be Pembrokeshire. I just knew it because I spent a lot of time there. So I was like, yeah, it has to be. And then I went to the toilet halfway through the movie and I was just Googling it. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So it was filmed near St. David's Head. And fun fact, it was not actually filmed on an island. They basically used the coast to make it look like an island, apart from obviously they used the scene at the start where he's going on the boat. And that's the only bit, in the island. And apparently, Charles's house in the film is in the same town where the director, James Griffiths' mother, was born and raised, which comes from the IMDb trivia section. So yeah, I want to sort of bring up the humor, like I've already said, the humor of Tim Key. It hits 95% of the time. Herb MacGyver hits like 95% of the time. I love the dynamic between Herb and Charles, and I just love the way that you can see that Charles is this huge super fan, and Herb's just a bit wary. He kind of gets a bit annoyed with Charles at how much of a super fan he is, and he's got all the records and he's got all that. And also, we have another character. We have a man who's played by Sean Clifford, and yeah, no, she's a great character. She's another one that lives on the island. She runs a little shop, and that's where the port is, where they bring the boats. And there's just some funny moments with her character and Herb Maguire and Nell Mortimer as well. There's just some funny moments all around. It's a comedy. If you haven't guessed already, I'm imagining you have, but it's very, yeah, no, it's a great film. I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's got that deadpan humor, and yeah, I love like a lot of the so and like I want to talk about it, but I don't want to. There's not loads that I can say about it without spoiling a lot of the comedy, because a lot of the things I like are certain jokes, but Jack hasn't seen it, and then we're gonna make him watch it. So that's why I kind of wanted to not spoil it, and obviously we don't do spoilers unless the Blue Moon discussion is spoilerous. But apart from that, it was this whole rest of it is not. So yeah, we are going to. Yeah, I'm just gonna look at my notes, see if there's anything else that I wanted to bring up. And I don't think it is, but I think it's got a great ending, great heartfelt ending. And yeah, I thought the acting from Tom Basden, Carey Mulligan, very good. They play that dynamic very well, and that ending is very good. And yeah, no, this the whole story wraps up very nicely, very heartfelt ending. And yeah, there's not really much more to say, like I said, without spoiling a lot of the jokes, which I don't want to do, because if I give you jokes, then you watch it and you won't laugh as much at them. Whereas I think if you get a bit caught off guard by them, but yeah, no, I think that's all I wanted to say, and I'm going to yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up my Ballad of Wallis Island review there. So overall, I would give that a 4 out of 5. It's one of my favorites of the year so far, probably in my top 10 for sure. It was super high until I went to film festivals, watched like Hamnet, and watched other films.